Hey, 2 weeks ago on this channel, I released a report about a data leak in a number of Apple systems. It mainly affected app developers, though hypothetically it could have also affected other categories of publishers like podcasters, maybe music publishers, and so on. But in my research, I focused on app developers. And I thought that after 2 weeks, it would be a good idea to do a quick checkup and see what's changed and what's not. And in these 2 weeks, I continued monitoring the systems, I requested new data archives, I analyzed their contents, and I noticed two important things. First, about 3 or 4 days after my report, I discovered the very same vulnerability in full scale. So it's just after 2 months since Apple became aware of it, and almost 2 months after Apple confirmed it, it was sort of mind-blowing. I don't know, at least I haven't experienced anything similar. And the second important thing is the change in the data schema for the very file that's affected, the purchase history. Apparently, Apple simply removed the seller column. So it sort of stops the exposure at this point, but it doesn't fix the problem. Because the problem is fixed is when the purchase history is available in full, including seller data and so on. Only the seller column doesn't expose any personal private info of the publishers. So in this video, I'll demonstrate you both of these archives. One, I believe, became ready on September 5th and the other on September 10th. And of course, I'll have to redact all the sensitive data, but when the column is gone altogether, it's not something you can hide. Okay, so I go to privacy.apple.com. Okay, and now I can get my data. I have two of these archives. One was requested on September 5th and became ready a few days later. I think it was on September 10th. At least I mentioned all of this on my site. Yeah, it is September 10th. And the other was requested way back in August, and it was currently unavailable. Then some of the data archives became ready, but the full archive only became available on September 5th. So I'll start with the older archive. I download this impacted part, and here is what I have. All right. Stored activity, account and transaction history. And here's that file, store transaction purchase and free apps history. I open it. Of course, I will have to hide all this. But what's important is the seller column. It's still here. It still exposes personal Apple ID numbers. Also, for one thing I didn't mention in my original video is that for some reason, this seller column also exposes the account status. Like, for instance, if the account was closed, and in some cases, if it was closed for some violations, maybe review fraud or something like that. It mentions the date and also some sort of internal number. I believe it's some sort of internal ticket that for reviewing the developer account. And to be honest, I don't believe this is appropriate to have this sort of information in publicly accessible data. So anyway, here is one entry that exposes an Apple ID number. Here's another, one more, another record that shows when the account was closed, and this is the internal ticket number or something like that that I was talking about. So yeah, as you can see, the vulnerability is in full swing, and nothing's changed in over 2 months basically. So I can close this file. And now I'll go to the newer archive. This one was generated about a week after my report, so it became ready on September 10th. And let's see what we have inside. the structure is very similar because, as I mentioned in the previous video, some of the archives, Apple basically reverted to the older data schema that didn't include purchase history at all. But here we have purchase history just as well. And as you can see, it has no seller column at all. It's usually the sixth column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Instead of it, we have some sort of container reference number, container description, and the rest of the columns. So basically, Apple just removed this important piece of data. And once again, that means that the white paper Apple published, it's irrelevant once again. So basically that's it for this demo. And as you can see, the problem is still not fully fixed. It will be fully fixed when the seller column is back, but it doesn't include any sensitive identifiers. And to be honest, I'm a little bit appalled at the way that Apple is handling this, because I would say that 2 months are more than enough time to come up with some sort of permanent solution. So far, Apple hasn't done that. And I don't have any sort of personal grudge against Apple. I'm more or less tolerant, even if it's kind of arrogant marketing. But when this corporate arrogance is coupled with really negligent approach to data handling, to data privacy, this is, I would say, as irresponsible and as unethical as it gets. So perhaps I'll have another status update in a couple of weeks, and in the meantime, I'm working on something else. So until then, make your ethics fly.